Hi, my name's Nicola Richardson. I'm the owner of Pink Vintage Jewellery. I've been selling on Etsy for 8 years and through my website, selling my handmade jewellery. And then just after Christmas this year, I got into the world of permanent jewellery. And I've been wanting to make this video for quite some time and just break down all the costs associated with setting up a permanent jewellery business here in the UK. So I'm going to try and do this video in a oneer, so I don't want to edit it, so the mistakes will stay in. So just bear with me. So obviously, the biggest cost is the welder. So just bear with me while I put my readers on. I bought the Zap Plus welder. I will put a photograph here for you so you can see it. And I did actually have a 10% discount code. I can't remember why or how, but the welder itself and the screen, the welding screen that it comes with, was £1,732.14p. Like I say, I had a 10% discount, so if I wouldn't have had that 10% discount, I wouldn't have got much change, would I, from £2,000. So that's the biggest cost, obviously, with permanent jewellery setup. But there's lots of extra costs that you actually don't realise until you buy the welder and you realise, oh, I need to get this, that and the other. So let's start and break those down as well. So I'm going to do the essential items, what you actually need, and then we'll talk about at the end what are kind of some of the nice things to have, shall we say. So the next essential thing is something called argon gas, and this is hit here. So this is, I've just checked online, this is selling for £27.60, this bottle. You also need to buy a regulator. This regulator is between £30 and £40. Now, my husband's got a trade account because he actually is a welder, so we might have got this a little bit cheaper. And he put this nice quick release valve on for me, so that's really handy when I'm popping up into the studio and back. I should actually say I do have a studio in the centre of York that I pay monthly rent on. However, I've got a flashing light above my head at the moment and I can't get to it's too tall, I can't get to the ceiling to swap it. So that's why I'm filming this video from home. So if you're wondering why I'm not in my studio, that's the reason why, because I thought it's really annoying, that flashing light, and I didn't want it to be on YouTube annoying everybody. So yes, this is essential. Why do you need argon gas? This makes your weld cleaner. And I've noticed a difference. A few weeks ago, my husband turned the gas off. I didn't realise, and I was welding. I was like, I'm a normal jeweller as well, so I use it for my other work. And I noticed that it was really black and it was porous. And I was like, oh, this is not quite right. And then I figured out the gas had been turned off. So if you are doing permanent jewellery, you do really need to use argon gas. It makes your welder cleaner, but also stronger. And if you don't, your jewellery where you weld will be black, and that's not aesthetically pleasing, really. So it is essential that you use argon gas. I can't really tell you where I got this from because obviously my husband gets it for me. I'm very lucky in that respect. So, and we'll top up the price at the end, so don't worry. Then we need some pliers. So you get a grounding plier with the Zap Plus, but you need some pliers. So your grounding plier, I use my grounding plier in my left hand, so I need some other pliers in my right hand to open and close the jump rings. I like these, they're just from the Curious Gem. These are called bent nose pliers and they're £6.30, and I use these in my jewellery business and they're brilliant. The only thing I would suggest is sanding them. Get some 240 sandpaper grit and just sand them maybe once a week just to rough up these edges, and then you've got a really good grip. Then you do get a cutter in the Zap Plus weldy, but I prefer these because I've been using these for years. These are Nipex cutters, flush cutters, and these are brilliant. £26.99, so they are quite pricey, but I've gone through so many cheap cutters before and these are just perfect. They're lovely. I've got 2 pairs of them now. I just really like them. So yeah, the pliers did come with the Zap Plus I've kind of replaced and I use these instead. So next, so another essential item what you need is a tungsten sharpener, which is this. So if you're wondering what a tungsten is, so a tungsten is, this actually goes inside the handpiece of the welder. It's like a little needle, and this is where the spark travels down, I guess, really. And with the tungsten, you touch the jump ring, and that's how the weld happens. But these blunt very, 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 very quickly. I get through maybe 2 or 3 of these every session. So you do need, even though it doesn't, this didn't come with the equipment, but it is essential. You can't be a permanent jewellery artist without a way of sharpening up your tungstens. Now, there is a branded version. It's about just over £100. We got this knockoff off Amazon. It was £60, and it's got these little holes here. But to be honest, there's only one what works. So maybe it would have been better to buy the better one, really. So yeah, we've just got that one hole that I can put my tungsten down to sharpen. It does work, but yeah, maybe I should have invested in the better quality one, really. But anyway, that's that. And then let me just see where I am now. So then, another essential item that you need is some way of seeing the jump ring. So these are my Optivisors. I got these from Cookson's Gold. I've probably had them over 5 years. Yeah, maybe even longer. They're quite expensive. They're about £70. But unless you are Superman and you've got X-ray vision, you're going to have difficulty seeing the jump rings, because the jump rings are 3 to 4 mils, depending on what kind of metal you're going to use. And you're looking for a little closure, a little line on that jump ring. So you do need some Optivisors. That's essential. I have seen a few people trying to do it without, and I just think you're asking for trouble. Yeah, just get the Optivisor, then you can really, really see what you're doing. And if you get the sharp tungsten, you've got a good weld straight away. You don't have no messing about. So there, I would consider essential. Now, let me see what next. Then, after buying all the equipment, I then had to buy some insurance. So I found a company and I got insurance for £175 for the year. And that gives me insurance against theft and fire and public liability as well. And then, then you've got to decide on your business model. So that's a big thing to consider. I've been selling jewellery for many years at craft fairs. I've been doing it for years. I know of pop-up now. I've learned that pop-ups are not for me. I'm not going to go outdoors. You can have, a weather or a storm, and then your pop-up's ruined. And if you go outside and you go outside venue, you've got to look for a generator. You've got to look for a gazebo. Yeah, the weekend's ruined if you get a storm and you don't get a refund. You might have spent a lot of money on this pitch. So I knew straight away doing pop-ups and outdoor events wasn't for me. So I wanted to find a permanent base, a permanent studio, which I did. I found a lovely little studio. Well, I've made it lovely, actually. It wasn't so lovely, but I basically share a building with lots of other creative businesses, and I rent a little space in there. And I spent £600 getting this little studio looking the way it looks today. Probably a little bit more, actually. We had to build the walls. We had to build like some walls to see which my studio was, to make it obvious. My husband's quite handy, so he built them. We got some wood. We've got some really nice wood, and we painted them. We installed them, and then I got some lovely Dunelm chairs, nice pale pink, obviously. They were like £8 each. I got 3, and I got a lovely white table from IKEA. And then I painted the walls a nice little rose pink colour. I've had a few signs done, and I got some signs done for free, so that was handy. That was great. So yeah, I just made my little studio as nice as it could be in this shared building, but I did spend £600 getting it to look the way it does. So it wasn't cheap, and that's not including my rent. That's just actually setting up and getting in there. Right, and then you've got to consider obviously who are your customers and where are you going to find them. Now, I already had a website, so it was easy for me. I had to then look for an app which I could plug into my website. I self-manage my website. I've done it all by myself. I had to look for an app, plug it into my website, which could then take a deposit of £15, and then I could open up the appointments. So that's worked out really, really, really well. I think the app cost I think it was like £7 a month. My website costs about £35 a month. So yeah, I'm spending £42 a month now on website, keeping my website going with this app, taking bookings. But obviously not everyone might have a website, so that you might have a different business model to me. And then you've got to consider your stock. So you've obviously got it's quite a lot to buy. When you're buying stock, you either buy it in a foot long, so 12 inches, or you buy it in a metre long, or you can buy it in 3 metres long. So when you're first starting out, obviously you don't want to buy too much. It's difficult to know what to buy. You don't really know what people are going to choose. So I think I spent about £200 on stock initially, in silver and gold. I think I had about 6 silver chains, some charms and connectors, which my daughter liked. She's 18, so she helped me choose what she would like to wear, and some gold filled options as well, probably about 4 gold filled options. So I didn't have a massive amount, but I did have some choice, definitely, at the beginning. And I'd say I probably spent about maybe £200 to £300 on stock just initially, just to get me going. Then display trays. So obviously you need to display your stock in a nice way. You can't just chuck it on a table and be done. So I got 3 display trays. I've got one for the charms and connectors. I've got some lovely little pillow ones where I wrap the chain around, and I've got a lovely little pink bracelet display as well, where I put the gold jewellery on. And that together came to £80.97. Then you've got to decide how you're transporting all this around to where you need to be. So my husband, I'm very lucky, he bought me some transportation boxes. They're like, workmen get jealous when I'm walking around, basically. I've got this big pulley with wheels on, and all my stock goes in there. He put shadow foam in everything, so the argon gas is protected, the welder's protected, everything's got like a little hole perfectly. It just goes in there, and I go in and out every day. I don't leave anything overnight there. So, and I think I've had a quick look, something similar is about £200. So again, not cheap. Then where are we then? So then you need a card reader. So obviously most people don't really have a lot of cash these days, so card readers are essential for this kind of business. I bought mine years ago. I think it was £35. It was an iZettle reader. You can get some up, I've just had a quick look, some up do a reader for about £60. But the trouble with that is, just remember that they do take a little percentage of the cost, which you kind of forget about until you see your bill, you see your money coming in, you think, oh yeah, maybe should have factored that into the cost. Anyways, so then what is after that? So that is the full cost of what I had to spend to set up the business. So I've added it all up, and it came to £3,270. So that is me going without my rent. I've not put my rent in there, by the way. That's just all the equipment that you actually need, the equipment, the insurance, and how to take the money from your customers, basically, the stock and everything else. Now, something what I did, which I think it's a nice little extra thing that I did, I actually had a launch party. I decided to have a bit of a hard launch for my permanent jewellery. I had a soft launch for my Etsy shop years ago. I didn't really make a fuss, but I wanted things to be different for the permanent jewellery. So I hired a room in my local village. We got some Prosecco, pink Prosecco obviously, and we got some food, and we had 40 people, and the stock I bought, I just gave it away for free. I did 18 bracelets that night, but my ulterior motive was to get videos and photographs of the launch party, which I could then promote. It was on my website then, literally the day after. It was all over social media, and it really helped boost my business, and my business was flying then straight away. There was, people were finding me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I was everywhere, and just promoting with that one video. So the launch party obviously cost me a lot of money, cost me a few £100, but it was invaluable in getting my business up off the ground and getting my business to people to know about my business locally. So yeah, you know, it's up to you what you decide to do, but for me, it worked out really well. And so that is the cost without training as well, because I'm already a jeweler. I've been making jewellery and I've been soldering for probably about 7 years now, and I spent 18 months at a jewellery school learning how to solder. So when I left there, I had a really good understanding of soldering and I was quite confident in it. So when I got the welder, it's a lot easier. Basically, if you can solder, you can weld. So I didn't really need any training. I didn't need any formal training package. I know people are out there trying to sell training packages and such like, but that's something I didn't need. So that's not factored into my cost. But if you are completely new and you've maybe got a salon or some other pop-up and you're not a jeweler at all and you're coming from a completely different, you are going to need some form of training. I can't recommend anybody, but yeah, you're probably going to have to pay a little bit more just to get, so you understand how the welder works and all the health and safety that goes with it as well. So I think that's everything I've covered. So I hope that you found this video interesting. I am going to do another video when I've been in business with my permanent jewellery for 6 months, which is only another month away. I plan on doing a video about what I have actually earned as a permanent jewellery artist in the first 6 months. So yeah, if you're wanting to find out that as well, subscribe to my channel and I'll see you in the next video. And hopefully you found that a little bit helpful. Okay, bye bye.